lecture is called Human Origins. We're going to begin with, there are obviously two views of human origins, and these views are based on what? What do you think the two views are based on? Evidence or paradigm? Exactly. It's based on your paradigm. If you're a creationist, you have one view of human origins, and you're most likely not going to be swayed to the other. If you're an evolutionist, you have another view of human origins, and you probably won't be swayed the other way either, because origins is a historical science at best, and it's based on your paradigm. Okay? Why do most people believe in evolution? Because they've studied the evidence and made a decision about it? No, because they were brought up through their education, their background, and everything else with a particular paradigm. All right, so we have two views. First view, of course, is the creationist paradigm. The creationist viewpoint is that man was created by God in his image on day 6. In contrast to that, man is not in God's image, but what is man? He's the pinnacle of the evolutionary ladder. He's a product of millions of years of natural processes. He is a higher form of animal. And of course, this completely changes your view, and it's completely based on your paradigm, what you have already decided you believe. We also, if we're creationists, we also believe that man has a special place in God's creation. That man is not just a higher animal, that man is in God's image. Man was specially created by God, and as such, he has a special place in God's creation. As you know, Genesis plainly gives man dominion over the animal kingdom and all of the earth. Either that or man's diverged from some ape-like ancestor around 60 million years ago. I noticed on one of the quizzes that several of you said that man came from monkeys. That's not true. Evolutionists do not teach that. Here's what evolutionists teach about human origins. Most of what I have today I've gotten from the Smithsonian Institute. So we need to know what is taught about evolution, what is promoted about human origins. Don't be flippant and just say, oh yeah, they believe man came from monkeys. That shows me you're not informed. So let's get informed about what do evolutionists believe about human origins. They believe that man is the product of millions of years of purposeless evolutionary processes. We call that gradualism. And they believe that man diverged from some ape-like ancestor around 6 million years ago. All right, we already have talked about this. There's about 6,000 years of recorded biblical history. Okay, according to evolution, modern man's been around about 200,000, and of course, Homo sapiens, modern man itself, our species, around 10,000. But there's a big lineage of those are called hominids. And of course, your hominids will date back to 200,000 years. All right, and those are human beings, are very close relatives such as Neanderthal, Cro-Magnon, and so forth, okay? So we have two separate viewpoints, all right? Two separate viewpoints involving what we believe about human origins. All right, so the goal today is for me to go over what is believed about human origins today. Okay, here's again our creationist view. Where does it come from? The Bible. Man was created in God's image. These are diametrically opposed views. Either man is created in God's image or man is the product of evolution. Another thing that's important for the creationist viewpoint is that man is separate and distinct from animals. Man is above the animal kingdom. You are not a higher species of animal. You are not just a human species in the same category as every other species. And of course, we know that we have a special place in God's creation. We are the only creation in His image. That's why human rights is important. And that's also why animal rights do not exist. Okay? And it all goes back to your creationist paradigm. We have God's image. We are specially created by God. We have purpose and a place in creation. We are not a higher form of animal. Okay? And human rights are important. Animal rights really do not exist in a biblical paradigm. Where do we get this? Where do you get your creationist paradigm? I hope you get it from the Bible. In particular, we have Genesis. I said Genesis 1 and Genesis 2. In Genesis 1, we know from verse 27 that we were created in God's image. And we know from chapter 2 that God formed us and gave us a physical body. That's the forming. God gave us a life consciousness. But back to verse 27, we have an additional component of our makeup. We have our physical body, which, yes, is mammalian. Maybe it is similar to primates. But that's only our physical body. That's only one part of our component. We also have a life consciousness, which we do share with the animal kingdom. But the animal kingdom does not have the eternal spirit, the third part of your makeup, that's kind of involved with God's image. Okay?